Konnichiwa and howdy, everybody. It is the 2025-26 Western Heights National Honor Society induction ceremony. And here we are on the big stage here at Western Heights High School. And I've been to a couple of these Honor Society induction ceremonies. In fact, I'd like to think I've probably been to more than anybody else, except for Mrs. Wood and Mrs. Biggs, who are probably sitting out in the audience, like right over there. I'm actually a Western Heights National Honor Society person. I was inducted in 1987. I've given a couple of these speeches. I've talked about Sun Tzu, I've talked about Alexander the Great, I've talked about Leonardo da Vinci. Last year, I did the speech on all the crazy things that have happened in the history on this stage. So this year, I thought about taking you behind the scenes, because it's kind of hard to do with you guys out there in the audience just sitting there. But since I have the magic of a camera, I want to show you how the magic is made with regard to the productions. To do that, obviously, I have to have a theme. And so I thought about, gosh, what theme this year? And so we're on the stage. It's got to be a storyteller. So my theme is going to be the world's second greatest storyteller. Whoa, wait, man, I forgot one. The world's third greatest storyteller. Because we all know that the world's second greatest storyteller is Scheherazade, who told the 1001 Arabian Nights stories to save her life some 1,000 years ago. No. The world's third greatest storyteller, a guy by the name of William Shakespeare. You may have heard about him. He was born in 1564. He wrote 39 plays, 152 sonnets, a couple of long poems. When he was in his early 20s, he joined an acting troupe, the Lord Chamberlain's acting troupe. And then when there was a change in the power of England, it became the King's Men acting troupe. And when he was 25, he started to write his famous plays. Wow. You know, I can relate a little bit. I too have written a play or two, and I can see Shakespeare sitting there at his desk and opening up his notebook, and there's that blank sheet of paper. Act 1, Scene 1. We've got to introduce the characters. We have to figure out what the setting is. We have to figure out the plot of the story. We need to. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a pretty crazy deal. Here at Western Heights, we are very, very fortunate with regard to our facilities. And it really helps me when I write a play, knowing that I have access to some amazing things. So I'm going to show you around here. Obviously, the first thing that we need to do is we need to put on the spotlight. So here we go. Spotlight. Okay, so now we're up here at the back of the auditorium where we have a spotlight, and we have one on the other side of the control booth. And you know, William Shakespeare in his play The Taming of the Shrew, in Act 4, Scene 5, Petruchio and his girlfriend Catherine, they're arguing, and Petruchio says, they're looking up at the sun, and Petruchio says, "I tell you, that is the moon." And Catherine says, "If you say it's the moon, it's the moon." And he goes, "Ah, you're a liar. It's not the moon, it's the sun." And she goes, "Hey, whatever you say," clearly I'm paraphrasing here, "Hey, clearly whatever you say is the truth, because, you know, I'm kind of in love with you." That's kind of how that scene goes. But anyway, here's the moon. Ready? Oh, ow! My big special effect there. Anyway, so the spotlight, and we can, how am I going to do this? I'm going to turn my light off. And there's the spotlight machine. Okay, and here we go. So here we are in the spotlight next to our podium, our lectern, our dais, our pulpit, I suppose. And this is where all great speeches here at Western Heights, this is where it happens, right? If we were to ask William Shakespeare to do a speech here, he might say, "Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones, so let it be with Caesar." That's from Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2. Mark Antony is the one who's giving that speech. And Mark Antony is about to become a leader himself. Speaking of leadership, the National Honor Society has 4 pillars, and one of those pillars is leadership. What does William Shakespeare say about leadership? In his play Twelfth Night, Act 2, Scene 7, he says, "Do not be afraid of greatness. Some are born great. Some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them." What is Shakespeare saying? Hey, National Honor Society, there's lots of ways to become a leader. Lots of paths. Go find you one. Go be a leader. Okay, well, this is the stage. That's the spotlight, but you guys have seen that stuff. Let me show you around the rest of the area. Welcome to the backstage on stage right. And here we are back behind the stage right curtains. The main stage is right over here, not too terribly far away. We have this huge room back here. We have the same area on the stage left, and then also back behind the big curtain back there. This is where we set up for each of the individual scenes, where we'll have a large props back here and set pieces, and then we also have the places here for the actors to gather before they go out onto the main stage for their scene. However, that's not everybody who's back here. We also have, oh my goodness, we have our stage crew, and we could not do it without the service of our stage crew. They're the ones that do the last minute makeup and the last minute sewing and the last minute moving of the props and the fire putting out, sometimes like literally, and the curtains and the sounds and the videos and the lights and that's the whole point of the stage crew. No, if you want to be in the acting troupe, you don't have to be out there doing lines. You can be back here putting out fires. And so without their service, we couldn't do it. And yes, obviously, because I've now said the word service 3 times, you figured out, because this is the National Honor Society, you figured out that this is another one of the pillars of Honor Society, service. We have leadership and service. Shakespeare on service. All's well that ends well, Act 1, Scene 1, he says, "Love all, trust a few, do evil to none." Yeah, that's pretty much the stage crew back here. We gotta love everybody. We gotta trust people back here, and we're not doing any evil back here. Okay. Next area. This is our green room. And we call it the green room because, well, there's no green in here. But there's a reason we call it the green room, and that's something you could probably look up yourself. Okay, what do we do here in the green room? And I'm leaning against a mirror, and so you're actually seeing the reflection of the green room. But what do we do here? This is where the actors gather, or stage crew. We all gather in here before a show, after a show, sometimes during a show. And this is our last minute rah-rah place. And this is also where we eat pizza. So, because, pizza. The people who bring the pizza, that service right there. "My heart is ever at your service." That's a quote from Shakespeare. Timon of Athens, Act 1, Scene 2. The pizza guy is important. Welcome to the green room, everybody. This room we affectionately call the garage, and is located just north of the auditorium. There's a big garage door right here that's where the theater starts. And so this room, we have the hard garage floor where we're going to build all of our set pieces and some of our props. And so This is where we use our saws and our hammers and our screwdrivers and all the other crazy stuff we use. We also sometimes use this room as storage, and so we have the shower from South Pacific over here. We've got the door from Docks from West Side Story here. We have the jail set from Aladdin back there. And we can't forget our Shakespeare, Richard III. Act 5, Scene 4. A horse! My kingdom for a horse! Now let me go show you Disney World. This is our storage building that I affectionately call Disney World Backstage. And so here we have basically everything that we can't fit into the garage and that we want to keep, we put in this building. And so yes, clearly we share the building with regular school stuff, but then we have weird and wonderful things that we've used for different sets. And so here's our gangster car, and then back here we have focus the camera. Oh, we have our Cinderella carriage here, and then we have our golden toilet, which comes up more often than you would think. And then back there we have costumes, and here we have set design pieces, and over there huge wall sections and doors and. In Shakespeare's play called The Tempest, Miranda says, "O brave new world that has such people in it." I would argue, "Oh brave new Disney World Backstage that has such possibilities in it." Okay, so now we've done the X and Y axis. Now we have to go to the Z axis. So I hope you're not acrophobic. I'm now 15 feet up on stage left. If you'd been back here about 10 years ago, this entire wall was covered with giant pulley systems that we would then use to raise and lower the individual curtains on the stage. And so to give you a better idea of where we are, that's the stage floor. That's the stage floor there. And the audience, you guys are out there right now. So obviously, if we're up here on the balcony, you know which scene I have to do for Shakespeare, the balcony scene. You know what? No, never mind. Because there's a balcony that's a lot cooler than this one. So now we are about 40 feet up. These are the tops of the curtains that you see on the stage. The big white one in the very far back, we call that the cyclorama, and we like to project a whole bunch of colors on there. And so we are, well, let's see, let me show you. Goodness. That is where I just left. That's actually at the top where we have all the plugins for our curtains. And so now you're sitting here thinking, okay, Dr. Jones, this is clearly the best place to do the balcony scene, the famous balcony scene. Nah, I got a better one. So where is this? Right? Here's a giant speaker. It looks like an interesting little sound panel here. Now let me tell you where I am. If everybody will look up in the audience and you'll look up, okay, so there's the stage. We have the proscenium. The proscenium is the area around what you're looking at, the giant rectangle there of the stage. If you look just above the giant rectangle, you'll see another smaller rectangle, and it looks like, oh, that looks like a little bitty room where there's a speaker in it. Well, guess what? There's the speaker, and that's what you're looking at from the back side. So I'm standing on 3/4 inch plywood, and this is just a little piece of cloth that if I had turned on the lights in the auditorium, thinking it through, I would be able to show you how far that is down. But since I'm not going to climb all the way back down there to turn on the lights, because it's a long way to climb, and I'm not as young as I used to be. But here we are, the speaker, right? The speaker. And so if you have the speaker and you only have to choose like one line, right, from Shakespeare, just one line, it would have to be, "To be or not to be." Hamlet, Act 5, Scene 1. But I promised you the balcony scene. Let's get to the balcony. Probably the most harrowing part of this journey is this little crosswalk I'm on here as we go up to the balcony. Here to my left I have the ceiling tiles of the auditorium that I'm 45 feet up above you on top of these ceiling tiles. I'm on a crosswalk. I don't think you see the crosswalk very well, but the crosswalk. The reason you can't see it very well is because the light is not on and it's not working. Fortunately, I have my cell phone and its flashlight, and it's okay, because it's Sunday and there's no bell-to-bell rule on Sunday, so I'm okay with my cell phone. In the dark, if I have to choose one quote from Shakespeare, it would be this: Macbeth, Act 4, Scene 1. Double, double, toil and trouble. Fires burn and cauldrons bubble. Those crazy witches. Okay, and now we're going right around the corner. I'll be with you in just a second. Okay, I promised you the balcony. And so this is about as far as I can go with regard to cool balcony shots at Western Heights. So we are located, well, I'll tell you what, it's probably just easier to show you. There is the podium. And here's me. And there's the podium. And so you guys are seated somewhere down there. Okay. So up here we have a ton of lights. And of course none of these lights up here work. So I've got to use my flashlight again. No, I'm not. So we have a ton of lights here that we use. We call these the spotlights, the cat lights, and we use those to obviously light up all the actors in the scenes. So here we are on the balcony. So we've got to do it, right? You got to do it. No. You got to do this in order. You can't do Shakespeare out of order. So the balcony scene, you got to have Romeo down here first, who's looking up at the balcony, and then Juliet does her lines. So you got to do Romeo down here first. So I'm a little bit tired. It's okay. Here we go. Julius Caesar, Act 2, Scene 2. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is but sick and pale with grief. That's enough of that. Now I got to go do Juliet's part. See you in a second. Here we are back up on the balcony. Here's Juliet looking out, and she says, "O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or, if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I will no longer be a Capulet." Man, that was a long way to climb to do that little bitty line. But for you guys, it was worth it. In Shakespeare's play, The Tempest, in Act 1, Scene 2, Prospero says, "Knowing that I love my books, he furnished me from my own library with volumes that I prized more than my own dukedom." And so Prospero, the character, he says that he prefers to read, to study, to research more than titles. And here we are with the third of the pillars of National Honor Society, and that would be scholarship. And so, yes, obviously, right, scholarship. Everybody sitting around you right now, your grade point averages, right, they're north of good. So if you are a C or a D or an F student, you did not get the invite for this induction ceremony. In fact, everywhere in the entire country for National Honor Society, right? So this is kind of a cool little club. Keep it up. Keep your studies up. Turn in your papers. Stay with that higher GPA. You guys can do this. In Shakespeare's Love's Labour's Lost, that's actually kind of like a tongue twister. Love's Labour's Lost, Act 4, Scene 3, Shakespeare says, "Study is like heaven's glorious sun, not to be deep searched by saucy looks. Yeah, I'm not really for sure what that means, but he did talk about studying. Okay. We have one more of the pillars to go. Character. Gosh, we're on a stage. What could I possibly come up with for the trait of character? Which character do I choose? I mean, there's so many to choose from. Do I choose one from a history? Do I choose one from the tragedies or the comedies? I mean, if I only had to choose one, if I only had to choose one character from all of Shakespeare, all of his 39 plays, which character would I like to do on the stage? Well, I could do Brutus. I'm a history teacher. Brutus, he stabbed his best friend Julius Caesar. No. I could be one of the witches from Macbeth and do all the fortune telling. No. The Merchant of Venice, Iago, he's pretty unscrupulous. I think I'm going to go with Mercutio. Mercutio, that's the best friend of Romeo in Romeo and Juliet. Mercutio is a sword fighter, incredibly handsome. Oh, see, that wouldn't be proper for me. And he's got a lot of ADHD issues. Character. Character, right. It's the fourth pillar of National Honor Society. So, character. What does William Shakespeare say about that? Hamlet, Act 1, Scene 3. To thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, that thou canst not be false to any man. That's actually, I like that one, right? Character. Who's watching your character right now? Yes, those people sitting in the audience looking at you. Sure. Who else is looking? Who's watching your character? Who's looking at your character? Well, sure. He's always watching. But who else? Well, you are looking at your own character. To thine own self be true. Character is a big thing here in the National Honor Society. And I think this particular group that have been chosen for this year, you guys all meet the cut. You all meet the cut. Leadership, scholarship, service, character. Good for y'all. Good for y'all. Okay, last quote. This is from As You Like It, Act 2, Scene 7. All the world's the stage, and the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one man plays, in his time, plays many parts. Thanks for coming to the induction ceremony. Your Shakespeare quiz will be passed out to you here in a couple of minutes. So I hope you were paying attention and were taking notes. And welcome to the Honor Society. Have a good evening.